Silver magic ships you carry, jumpers, coat, sweet Mary Jane. Imagine going your whole life making 2 albums and thinking that your music was just that. Music with an unknown cult-like following. It's a bit of an odd story, but basically in his home country of America, his albums flopped. Yet in Australia and eventually South Africa, they had a cult following. He toured here in Australia a couple of times in the late 60s to early 70s. But after that, things just died off on the business end. Yet he was still admired almost worldwide. Before we go on, I want to quickly share the story of how I found out who he was. I was really into a band around, I think, 2012. They're called Powderfinger, and they have a live album that I love a lot. There was one song on the album that I played non-stop basically. It's the most played song on my phone, and still is on one of my older phones. But I hadn't heard it on any of their other recordings. I looked into it, and it was a cover of a song by a guy called Rodriguez. I told my mum, and she was telling me about how famous he was in Australia at one stage, and then he just dropped off the face of the earth. Since then, I've listened to his album, Cold Fact, hundreds of times. The 2012 documentary Searching for Sugar Man documents, to some degree, what happened next. Despite his great sales worldwide, these weren't passed on to him. He didn't receive money for his album sales, or if he did, it was hardly any. So he went back to his job and continued working for decades. Due to his cult following in many areas of the world but sudden disappearance, it was assumed that he died, but he didn't. A Swedish filmmaker was looking into the whole thing and came across a fan site dedicated to Rodriguez, and ended up somehow contacting his daughter. Much to their surprise, he was alive, and after many years of patience, he agreed to give them an interview. And they explained to him about his success, which he was unaware of, and he ended up going to South Africa and touring. He has since quit his job and is still touring worldwide, including spots at Coachella and Glastonbury. The story is a lot more bizarre than this short video I've made. There's a lot more to it. If you want me to make a potential 15 or 20 minute video about it, let me know in the comments below, because I'm more than happy to. I just kind of thought that I would briefly bring you the story of Rodriguez if you didn't know. I encourage you to watch the Oscar-winning documentary about him called Searching for Sugar Man. There'll be links below to his music too. Thanks for watching. I'll see you soon for more content. Mama, Papa, stop, treasure what you got. Soon you may be caught without it. The curfew set for 8. Will it ever all be straight? I doubt it.